Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadline so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. This is the number one Millwall podcast, of course, and you join me in the wake of yesterday's yesterday's classic Neil Harris smash and grab raid in South Wales. A 1-0 win, of course, for the Lions at Swansea. Overall, I mean, it was. I say vintage Millwall because it was a 90-minute display of endurance. Punctuated with one moment of real quality, which was our goal scored by Casper Denor almost at the brink of full time. So we can trace these kinds of away days all the way back through Neil Harris, Gary Rowett, and I suppose Harris before that again. It was classic stuff. You can't beat a late winner, dear listeners, can you? And let's have a quick listen now before we get into today's show, which features the voicemails and also a conversation I had with Graham Payne. Let's have a quick listen first of all to our boss, Supremo, Neil Harris, head coach, I suppose you call him, and also a couple of quick interviews that Mill TV did with Casper Denor and Lucas Jensen. So over to Neil Harris first, then Lucas, then Casper.
Firstly, thank you to the fans that came today.
530.
Yeah, look, wow, because it was a long way, as we found out, as I know, from managing just up the road. It's a long way to come on a Saturday afternoon. That to watch this afternoon where we weren't particularly very good at times. But when we talk about Millwall Football Club, Neil Harris teams, especially as a Millwall manager, and I talk about if we can't play very well, you have to do the basics, you have to compete, you have to run, and you have to keep the ball out the net and be disciplined in what you do. Well, we did that. So look, it's not the. It's not just every part of the game, but we did the real basics today in key moments to stand strong.
I don't think we started the game particularly well, but we're a team that works hard, and I think that showed today. And then we got obviously the reward at the end, which is I'm obviously bossing for Casper to score the goal, and it makes it so much sweeter in all honesty to come away from here with 3 points. And it's been a great week when we look at it. So overall, a really good performance.
It seems like I can only score here in the same goal. So no, it's obviously a really good feeling to end the week with an away win here. I think we, maybe it was one of the games where the quality was not that high as other games, but then those games we lost sometimes, and now you get the points, so it evens out.
4 changes from that midweek 11, dear listeners, against Plymouth, a 1-0 win, of course. I think I called it uninspiring, and listening to the players there, Lucas and Casper, I suppose they both, and Neil Harris for that matter, will both call it hard working, which it was. I can't fault the effort in midweek. Certainly can't fault the effort yesterday. But 4 changes to that 11 that took the field at the Den on Wednesday night. Ryan Wintle came in. I thought he did a good, journeyman job for us yesterday. Ryan Wintle coming in for his first start. Danny Mack returned, which I think most of us will always approve of, seeing Danny in the back line. Duncan Watmore back and Macaulay Langstaff up front. So probably a fairly defensive feel to that 11. So let's run through it. So Jensen in goal. Back line of Leonard, Cooper, Tanganga, McNamara. In front of them, Jules Saville, Ryan Wintle. In front of them, the attacking 3. Duncan Watmore replaced with the crucial substitution, actually, as it would turn out, of Femi Aziz on 72. Romain Esse, another standout performance, I thought, from Romain. Substituted late with Joe Bryan coming in 90 plus 2. And then George Honeyman replaced by the goal scorer, Casper Denor. Up front, Langstaff was also replaced by Mihailo Ivanovic on 72 minutes. So I suppose, one of the criticisms of Neil Harris has been his somewhat clumsy use of substitutions sometimes, criticised plenty across the Millwall scene at various points, but you can't fault him yesterday, dear listeners, because it was Femi Aziz that would pick up the loose pass out of defence on 89 minutes, and it was his cross backwards to Casper De Norre to finish it with aplomb that got the crucial goal after really what was 90 minutes of bombardment, in especially in the second half. The first half, not huge amounts to report, but a couple of decent saves by man of the match, Lucas Jensen, who we've already heard from there. But second half, a series of great saves by Lucas, my man of the match by some distance, including a couple of double saves, a double save and another crucial save just a few minutes earlier on from that. Stand-up performance, Lucas Jensen. Great to see that. Really hope that boosts his confidence. He's been criticised, and I think if you've been criticising a player, you should be the first to say well done when he gets it right. And he got it right yesterday. But for Lucas Jensen, dear listeners, we wouldn't have come away with that crucial 3 points. So first up on our show this afternoon, we're going to be speaking, I spoke last night rather, to Graham Payne. Let's have a listen now to my conversation with Graham. Huge welcome on the show now to show regular Graham Payne. Graham, that was a smash and grab raid this afternoon down there in Swansea, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know, Nick. Yeah, it certainly was. It was a class, a typical Neil Harris performance. Would I go that far? Yeah, I mean, that's a typical Neil Harris away performance. Let's get it right.
Yeah, it was. Big shout out to start us off to the 530 that went down to Swansea. Not an easy journey today, Graham. I think I read somewhere, I think it might have been Phil Clark said that the bridge was suspended briefly, so that doesn't help. It's a long way. It's actually a long distance trip going down to South Wales. So big hats off to all those who went, but a huge reward came late in the game that had been really dominated. I don't think that's overcooking it, Graham, to say dominated by Swansea City. Not a huge amount to report in the first half, but the second half I thought we really came under the cosh. Defensive lineup, wasn't it? I mean, Jensen in goal, Danny Mack coming back, Ryan Wintle coming into the side. I thought he did okay. Langstaff returned up front, and Watmore returned as well to the starting 11. So it was very much, as you say, it was a Neil Harris defensive away performance, really, almost a classic of its kind. Topped off with like Mr. Kipling cake with its cherry, with that late goal for Casper De Norre. But I mean, we really were under the cosh there, Graham. You look at the statistics, I just said it a moment ago, and not a huge stats man, listeners, but 71.3% possession to Swansea and 28.7% for Millwall. 5 shots on target for them, and two, on one of which went in the net for Millwall. I made Lucas Jensen my man of the match. Looking at the numbers, I think that screams out. How did you see it today?
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of home games, I think, I thought, it crosses. He's definitely got an issue with, but
he does. Yeah, as
a shot stopper, he's good. And today, I mean, he pulled off 3 or 4 great saves. That double save and all.
Yeah,
in the second half, where the guys, the ball's come across and he's met the guy and then got up and made the second save as well.
Yeah,
they were really good, and he was definitely our man of the match, no doubt about that.
Yeah, by a distance. I mean, it was a decent defensive performance. Always going to be, it's the proverbial difficult place to go, isn't it? Swansea away, really. I thought there was a good early strong tackle by Danny Mack, so we set a tone for ourselves early on. Yeah. Good. He came crunching in and got the ball, so no booking there. I thought we looked pretty solid in the first half. There was one chance, I think there's a shot from distance that's, again, Jensen batted away. It was on target. That was the 22nd minute. Good save, Jensen, I've noted down here. Not an awful lot for Millwall to report back on. There's a few little moments of SA kind of footwork. I mean, we can almost come to expect from Romain SA now, these moments, he can get himself out of, 2 or 3 players in attendance. He can kind of dance his way out of it almost, and you're starting to get to the point where you're expecting it, Graham. But it was a tight performance in the first half, and I think there was a late chance there's like a kind of a double shot. Saville scuffed it away in the end. They had a little moment, but there wasn't much to report from that first half. Quite a quiet one overall.
Yeah.
From the Millwall perspective. Second half a bit more. I don't know. It felt a bit itchy and scratchy in the second half, Graham. I mean, we were under the cosh almost from the start. Look, cross kind of came in, a shot maybe, cross shot, palmed away from the start. And then, as you say, there was a series of really good saves by Lucas Jensen. I think that would do his confidence a power of good today, mate.
I hope so, yeah. I mean, as I say, as a shot stopper, he's got no issues. It's just these corners, it appears to me, that he has got an issue with commanding his 6-yard box, and and he doesn't come, he doesn't go, and he gets caught. And then the one in the last minute on Wednesday night, he bounced off his chest. But I thought, here we go. But the guy obviously shot over the bar. But yeah, today, I mean, he was on the mark and he did pull off some great saves.
There was a terrific save. I mean, we're under a fair degree of pressure in that second half. It wasn't, there was a number of moments where I thought blimey, they could score here. I mean, there was a terrific save about halfway through the second half. It was late, 76 minutes, so it's kind of coming towards the last section of the game. Really terrific save, Jensen, as the number 2 slalom for our defence. So
yeah,
it very much was his day. I thought defensively we looked okay against a decent side. I mean, they can't score for toffee at the moment, which I think was what pulled us out of trouble a little bit. Another side, another day might have got come at some of those chances, but you can only deal with what's in front of you. I thought it was a really strong performance by Millwall. It was like we said already, it's a classic of its type. The Neil Harris smash and grab raid. Same kind of turnout that we had just a few months ago in South Wales. That was the Casper Denor goal.
It's funny. Our record down there is pretty good over the last.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and yet they have a good record at the Den. We seem to beat them at the Den, but
strange, isn't it? Strange how these things work out. I mean, late in the game, under 85 minutes, I've got noted here. Swansea City break forward. Almost like felt like we're clinging on in those last 5 minutes of regular time, up until the breakout of defence, which was actually quite a nice ball cut. I think it was Ryan Leonard cut a ball forwards out. If I haven't seen it back, so stand to be corrected on this, Graham. But it cut out and then it was released to Aziz, who I thought did well to get the cross in, and a beautiful finish for Casper Denor. So that was that was a bright shining moment. There's only two other shots on target across the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, it might do Aziz a bit of good and all. He's had a bit of stick, hasn't he? And people were saying, why we bought him. But I thought he did all right Wednesday night. I know the goal where he missed, but I don't know. Maybe that was a good defending. I don't know. But setting up the winner, it's got to do his confidence a bit of good and all in it, I think.
Yeah, it must do. I mean, I'm glad for the boy. I mean, no one wants to see anyone, failing and having their place questioned in the side. So great to see that as well. I'm just trying to find the table because now we've shot from being a very Millwall situation, Graham, where we're on the brink of the bottom three. Everyone's talking in the most dire terms about does Harris have a future? Now suddenly, two scuffled results one way and the other, midweek and now Saturday, but suddenly 6 points and we're on the brink of the playoffs and he's the new Messiah. It's a very strange world of football, isn't it? You swing from one extreme to the other, or some really do. Some out there really do swing from lows to highs.
If we hadn't got with that, the way the game had unfolded, if we'd lost, I'll say 2-0, 3-0, what would have happened online? It'd have gone berserk.
Yeah.
That's how it is. But we got the winner, and everyone for now is happy. But I think it's also good to get them points on board with the two. We've got Burnley and Leeds, haven't we? The next two games.
Two tough games.
They're tough games.
Yeah.
To get that nice cushion of 7 points, before them, I think that's good. And the only thing I would say, Nick, I don't know if you've noticed it, but since, them three, I'll say even the Watford game, the Preston and the Sheffield Wednesday game, and QPR away, we played some nice attacking football.
Yeah.
But since West Brom, I know West Brom was a different, Cardiff was dreadful, but West Brom, higher side, but it seems to have gone away a bit,
it's gone into a dip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that in midweek. the Plymouth game, where we won it, and we would take it, same as today, we'd take it all day long. But you're right, we haven't shown the fluidity that we showed early on. I don't know why. Maybe the tension creeps up on the side as if you're not getting results, or not scoring or whatever. I don't know. But certainly today there was minimal fluid football. I mean, it really was backs to the wall. And we did that okay. I thought we defended very, very well against a side that might count themselves a bit unlucky not to have at least got a point out of it. I mean, to lose that one would be a gutter. I mean, I wouldn't... Yeah. The profession of being a football manager must be a tough business, mustn't it? I probably wouldn't go to sleep tonight very well, on the back of that, if I was the Swansea manager. He looked like a gaunt figure in that raincoat standing over there. I don't know what his name is, listeners. I'm not interested either, but he looked like a very gaunt figure standing there, like something out of a detective novel or something, So yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I mean, to have the better of the game and have the chances and not take them and then get counter-punched like that is difficult. But
it could have been us last week though against Derby, couldn't it? I mean, we'd had the better of the game. Derby had a shot on target. They get the goal, and you think, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Ivanovic turned up trumps with a great goal, but. Yeah, I think, I just don't want us to become too, I know it's hard because he is a class player, too reliant on SA. We need, there needs to be a bit more creativity, and it seems to have dried up.
Very much so. Yeah. I mean, that midfield of Wintle and Saville, the defensive two, I suppose you call them.
Yeah,
they were, they were defensive as well. Yeah. I mean, Saville. I remember Saville being a reasonably decent shooter of a ball, but that seems to have gone walkabout. I don't know what's happened to him, but
before he went to Middlesbrough, I'm sure you get double figures for goals.
Yeah, but that seems to have dried up. I mean, he's always going to be industrious and he's committed, and I'm not knocking the boy, but it doesn't seem to be very productive going forwards. We had another opportunity where I think it was Honeyman took the shot. It was a free kick in a danger position. It was just dire. I mean, it was point after touchdown, wasn't it? High over the crossbar, and not even a sniff of anything on target. So there's areas that we've got to improve, or we should improve. Yeah. But you're right. I don't know what's become of the. We're all waxing lyrical on these shows about what great football we're playing, but you can't really say that. I mean, it was a great performance today in the sense that we nicked it late, and that would make that long round trip for all those 530 fans worthwhile to be coming back on the trains and in the cars with that under your belt is terrific. So 10th position, Graham. Now we are 3 points behind Blackburn in 6th spot. We can start dreaming of the Premier League. When last week we were thinking about Stevenage away next season.
That's the life of a You've just summed it up completely. That was 1 week, Stevenage away the next.
We'll be checking the train times to Stevenage next week if we get stuffed by Burnley and Leeds. Maybe lurching back to the other extreme. But as you say, that's football. I've noticed actually, I mean, just whilst we're talking about Burnley, which is our next home game, listeners, that I think Fleming scored the other day. He can't play against us, but they seem to be using him as a centre forward, which we never really did we? We always used him as a kind of an attacking midfielder, but they played today. I looked at their lineup just out of interest, and he's starting as a centre forward, which I think he did do in Holland, but we never really did. So it's going to be not that we won't see him anyway, but kind of half following his career like you follow your ex-wife's exploits on Facebook or something, I've got to break away from it, Graham. I've got to move on.
I think you have, mate.
I've got to move on. There we go. So anyway, 12 games in. That's Kenny Jackett's proverbial start. Right, the table can now mean something, and top of the table, I think probably justifiably, is Sunderland, 9 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. Burnley 6-5-1 on 23 points, and then Millwall now 4-4 sitting on 10th on 16, which I think is probably a fair reflection of our play this season, Graham. I suppose you.
Yeah. I think if someone had said to you at the start of the season after 12 games you're going to be 10th, 4-4, 4 wins, 4. You'd have taken that, I think.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would have done, because you're obviously concerned about the new players coming in, and then obviously some of them picking up injuries, but you know, I don't know what's happened to. I thought he was supposed to be back after the international break, Josh Coburn, but he's not here, is he?
No, I think he's disappeared into the black hole that is the Millwall medical room. I don't know what goes on in there. It's like Sweeney Todd's meat pie shop in there or something. I don't know. You know, there's a few. I mean, obviously the Liverpool boy just went back to Liverpool. We only Scanlon. I mean, it was the beauties of a brief of him. I don't think we'll see him again. So. Yeah, I don't know. Billy Mitchell was always kind of forever 2 weeks away from training with a group again. So we'll see. We'll see. But so next home game, Burnley. So we'll it sounds like an emergency call out outside your office, Graham. I'm going to love you and leave you there, mate. We're going to be back after these messages, dear listeners, with some voicemails. So I should be back after the break. But for the moment, a big thank you to Graham Payne. Thanks for coming on the show, Graham.
Cheers, Nick. Thanks a lot, mate.
Achtung, Millwall.
Welcome back, dear listeners. We've got a good range of voice notes here for you. But before we get into those, I'm just looking at a tweet by... Tweet? Is it still called a tweet? It's probably called a post on X now, isn't it? From Jake Sanders. He says, Neil Harris's football is never going to be pretty, dear listeners, but he near enough guarantees results at this level. 42 points from 25 games since returning in February. That equates out to 82 across an entire season, which puts us fifth in that kind of compilation table, if you want. 82 points across an entire season, says Jake. Leeds have won 44 points as against our 42 from the same stretch. For context, love or loathe him, he's doing the business. Does anyone out there loathe him? He is loved because he is who he is at the Den. I was just listening back to that conversation just had with Graham there. I should have mentioned that we dodged a bullet in the 85th minute, which was a free header wide, which the Swansea striker put wide. It was a flick header. Maybe a better team gets that one. I don't know. And then there was the 86th minute, the double save that we've mentioned a couple of times across the show so far, which was with Joe Allen, the Welsh international. Really good saves. Initial block from Lucas, and then a follow-up save as the ball came back at us. The other point I want to mention, which was the Femi Aziz assist, because actually it was a loose pass out. Wall Art mentions the hard work that Mihailo Ivanovic does on the goalkeeper, which forces him probably to kick with less accuracy and less pizzazz than he might have wanted, which was picked up by Femi on the right wing. He nods it back to himself and then chases it down and crosses in for Casper De Norre to finish with aplomb. Nice work by Femi Aziz. We've said it already, I'm going to say it again, he's taken a lot of criticism, and my own view in life is that if you've criticised somebody, you should be the first to acknowledge where they've sorted things out, and that was good stuff from Femi Aziz yesterday, so well done to Femi. I suppose the only other point, just listening back to the conversation with Graham, which I want to make to myself really, I suppose, and that's a point I think made by both players, by Lucas Jensen and Casper De Norre at the start of the show, is that the flowing football might not have produced the results that we wanted. By tightening things up, the kind of what I call a dip in the flowing football was probably produced 6 points, certainly last two games, 7 if you include the point at West Brom. So that's maybe the trade-off there, dear listeners. So you get what you get from whichever style of football you want to take. Anyway, there we are. Let's have a listen to our first voice note from yesterday. It's one from Glyn Horner, show regular now. Glyn Horner. Let's have a listen to Glyn.
Hello, Nick. This is Glyn. Well, after slagging Lucas Jensen off quite a lot in my last message, I think I'm going to have to eat a big slice of humble pie here, because my word, he stuffed my words down my throat. What a performance. Now, I mean, all I can say is carry on, young man. Keep repeating this, because if you can perform at these levels, then and you can make that consistent, then you are a very, very good goalkeeper. But I guess what we need to see from him now is consistency. I mean, it was a very good performance. He did put off some good saves, and he did command his box, and you could see him really directing his defence around. So that was a big positive for me from today. I think obviously Casper De Norre, who scored an excellent goal, took it really well, and a great pass from Aziz as well, which I think Aziz, only on the field for a short time, but clearly had a tremendous impact. But Castellano was having a bit of a stinker, to be honest. I was starting to sort of think that really he probably would look back on this game as being a bit of a bad performance from him, but to score that goal, it seemed to lift him. And his performance generally sort of improved as a result. So I think well done to Casper. That was a very well taken goal, and he really found his place in the game after he did that. I think our midfield at the moment looks a little low on energy. I don't particularly think that right now we've got a very commanding midfield presence, and that probably means we really need someone like Billy Mitchell back in the team as quickly as possible. Billy brings so much energy and covers so much ground that I think we need to give someone a break in the midfield, because at the moment it's just not functioning. Danny Mack, I'm a big fan of Danny. Yeah, generally he's in there for his defensive duties. He did okay today, but I've seen him play a lot better. I don't think that was a particularly great Danny Mack performance, in all honesty. Ivanovic looks very effective. I would love to see Langstaff and Ivanovic in the same team at some point. They would need a run of games to sort of build up an understanding between each other, because you can't just throw two players on the pitch and expect them to have that understanding. It's very unlikely that will happen. But I think Ivanovic shows a lot of great presence for a lad who's so young, to dominate defenders the way that he does. I'd love to see a poacher like Langstaff alongside him, because I think that would be quite an exciting proposition. Anyway, I mean, it's another 3 points. Ridiculously, we're 3 points off the playoffs now. So all I'd say is don't get too high, don't get too low. It's early days, but yeah, what a turnaround. And well done to Neil Harris and the team. If you watch the footage of the players coming off the pitch and Neil Harris congratulating each and every one of them, and you could just see the smiles on their faces, and Casper Denor looks like he's on cloud nine, and so he should do. So well done, everyone. Great job. And keep it going, Jensen. We really need you to, Lucas Jesper Jensen, I should say, because we really need you to make that the standard that you maintain. All right, all the best. Speak soon.
I second that emotion, Glyn. Good stuff there, mate. Thank you. Yeah, Lucas Jensen, as we've said already, man of the match by some distance. Humble pie. Well, I think criticism where it's constructively placed, and I think I'm really hoping that's how we do it on this show. That's fair. And he's improved. He's responded, because he couldn't have done much better yesterday. He kept us in the game, and it was his saves that kept it to 0-0 that enabled us to press on late with Casper Denor, 0 to hero, I suppose, as you say, Glyn, and get that goal. Confidence is a big booster in life generally, isn't it? It's I think for Lucas, it's been tough, isn't it? It's a learning curve. He's played at Lincoln City, and no disrespect to Lincoln, it's not quite like turning out in front of a rabid den crowd. And when they're with you, it's terrific. When they're on your back, you'll hear about it. So consistency, as Glenn says, is going to be key. Ivanovic, yeah, I mean, Wallart has already mentioned. I just want to give another shout to the work that he did to force that goalkeeping, scuffed shot. It wasn't really an error, he cleared it, but it enabled Femi to pick up the ball and press on for the cross that got the goal. So that's good work from Ivan. I like the look of the boy. I think it was, who was it compared him with the young Richard Sadler? I can't remember who said that, but I like that comparison, because that's the kind of thing that Sads did in that classic 2002-03 season. So high praise there for Ivanovic. Yeah, Billy Mitch, be nice to see Billy back, and I do agree that the midfield needs a bit of a Sanatogen tonic to boost its spirits. So big thank you there to Glenn. We're going to go now with Joe Chats from Chicago, followed up with Bill Slack.
Hello, Joe from Chicago. Casper Denore, sensational. Femi Aziz needs to be starting. Get George Honeyman out of starting 11. Yeah, he's valuable for certain things, but no. Give me Femi Aziz. Give me Femi Aziz. I want to buy stock in Femi Aziz. Whew. I was expecting a point. 3 points is awesome. Denor owns Swansea. Jensen, sensational. That kit was ridiculous, but Jensen was amazing. What a win. What a crucial 3 points. I don't think the Burnley game's going to go well because it's on international TV, and we always seem to play terribly in those circumstances. So, what a crucial result. We're also getting some great late results against Swansea recently. It's kind of awesome. Nice to have that happen for us in our favor for once. Cheers. Hope everything is well. Yeah. Let's have some more discussions about Aldo coming to MLS and how I'm going to have to run into him in the hallway after making a video laughing at him. So that's fun. Not having any regrets about that at all. Have a great one.
Hello, Nick. Bill Slack. Come on, you liars. We weren't brave or foolish enough to go today. And myself, my dad and my boy watched that game and for 89 minutes said, thank God we didn't go. And it was also commented, imagine going all that way to watch this. And then Denor popped up and scored. And I was shouting at my son, that's why they go. That's why they travel. Because shit like that happens there and then. Absolutely brilliant. I could not be more pleased for those Millwall supporters who travelled today. That is such a reward for such a miserable journey. Absolutely brilliant. I won't go too much into the performance because I didn't actually think it was particularly great. That said, that's another clean sheet away from home. And we've nicked it. And that's how Harry sets up his team. Let's not concede away from home and see if something happens. See if something like Denor popping up in the 89th minute can happen. We only need one chance and one goal away from home, and he trusts his defences not to concede. That was fantastic. Genuinely, overwhelmingly over the moon for the travelling support. That was fantastic. Well done, ladies and gents. Well done. Speak to you soon. Ta-da, mate.
Fabulous stuff, Bill. The reward for the 530 that went. I was going to go, and then something cropped up at home, dear listeners, and I couldn't. So I finished up watching it on the iPad at my mother-in-law's. But yeah, what a reward for those that went all the way down to South Wales. It's a long way to go. It's a bit of a lug down there. Great stuff. Thank God we didn't go, but then Casper scores and you wished you'd have gone, and that's how it was for me yesterday, dear listeners. Before that, it was Chicago Joe. I always picture you recording these little missives, Joe, in like the foyer of the Ritz hotel with a dry martini in your hand, and these kind of little asides into your recording device. I just always look forward to Joe's contributions. Aldo, you mentioned Aldo. Alex Aldrich we're talking about, for any listeners that don't know about Aldo. He's joined the Colorado Rapids as their, I think, is he director of football out there? He actually didn't have a bad track record. I mean, he became one of these pantomime figures, and we do this a lot at the Den, listeners. Now, this is kind of like a chance to get into the psychiatrist's couch here on this show, because I find that this happens a lot, and maybe I fall into this trap myself because I am of Millwall, aren't I? But we seem to have a need to create pantomime villains that become responsible for all of the ills of the club. And Alex Aldrich, along with the likes of Steve Kavanagh, who I had my ups and downs with, bird shit related, as you know. I mean, this was one of the one of the realities. I mean, and you can't be in charge of a club like Millwall, in truth, and not draw some heat at some point. But Alex's track record as he was a scout, I think. Then he became director of football or some such nonsense title that they give to execs in the game now. I mean, I was looking the other day at some of the players that we did acquire under his tenure in the role. He was there from mid 2022 till the night of the long knives, as I said the other day on the previous show, over the summertime. And you're looking about acquiring names like Zian Fleming from Fortuna Sittard. I'd never heard of him. Had you, listeners? you got to be some European football head if you'd come across the name of Zian Fleming. 1.7 million seemed like a lot of money on a bit of a punt, and as it is, the deal's turned out very well for us. So, I'm also looking at, and Joe's, mentioned George Honeyman, and okay, you can talk about his, his strengths and weaknesses, but he's a player signed as under Alex's tenure. Loans players, which also comes within his brief. We've acquired in 2022 Jamie Shackleton and Charlie Cresswell is a favourite at the Den. So, it wasn't all a list of Alan Campbells. I'm also looking here. I mean, Nisbet and Campbell, duds. You cannot help but sign a dud if you're in that game, and you can't be judged on that particularly, as long as you're also delivering names like Brooke Norton-Cuffy on a loan from Arsenal, who's now playing. I saw in World Soccer Magazine, I saw him playing for, is it Genoa or Bologna? I can't remember, one of those Italian clubs. So he's a decent player. Ryan Longman, who had a brief little cameo with us. So my point is this: that it's easy to dig out Aldo and quote for every Alan Campbell, you're going to get slaughtered, but. It wasn't that bad for us, and he's a Millwall fan as well, Alex. I've met him in the past. Haven't spoken to him for a while now, and now he's got himself a very plum little job. I reckon that's got to be a nice gig, Joe. I don't know what Denver's like. I can only go by the soap opera of the 1980s when Blake Carrington and Linda Evans were all kind of knocking around high society in Colorado. It looked pretty good out there. So. If that's Alex's lifestyle, then good luck to the boy. So, big shout out to Aldo out there for the Rapids. And, I'm sure he'll forgive you for that laughter track that you did there, Joe. Anyway, big shout out to Alex. We're going to go now with Archie Whittaker.
Hi, Nick. Archie here, calling in, with an immediate reaction from that 1-0 win. Well, what a mad game. Very, very tough to watch. I mean, we couldn't string two passes together the whole game. SA was good again today. Good, create something out of nothing, don't he? And then Jensen just completely kept us in the game today. 3, 4, 5 chances. I know he's come under a bit of stick, but I think, I watched the goal back on Wednesday, and I know, you could say he needs to command his area a bit more, but he's got Jake Cooper in front of him, and it takes a little deflection off Cooper before Jensen fumbles it, which it don't look easy. I mean, I was never a goalkeeper, but you're coming out into a crowded box and you've got a 7'8" lamppost in front of you. You're going to make mistakes, but again, that does need to be addressed. The communication, definitely. Today, I mean, I'm screaming from the first minute. I mean, the team, I would never have picked that team today. For me, I think Saville needed dropping. I mean, 2, 3, 4 times today, he was dribbled past far too easily for my liking, and I just think he's knackered. But football being football, on comes Casper De Norre in, not even for Winter and Saville, just in behind Ivanovic. And what happens? Harris pulls a masterstroke and we win 1-0. It's just crazy how we won that game. It's funny because over the course of the season, it's a broken record, isn't it? We've played well at times and not got anything from the game, and today was back to Millwall shithousery and just a 1-0 away win. I've just looked at the table. We're up to 10th. Crazy game football. I suppose it's why we love it. We're 3 points off the playoffs now and 5 points from relegation, which puts us into a more Millwall-like position in the table. Great cross from Aziz, so a shout out to him today coming on. Again, I haven't been his greatest fan, but great ball in, and De Norre finished it brilliantly. And now the point at Derby seems a lot better now. Now we've got 2 wins in a row and the Derby point. great. And also, fucking hell, well done to all the people that went to Swansea and sat through. Well, I don't know what time the goal was, but it really wasn't pretty from my sofa. So fair play to them. Nice one, Nick. Hope you're well, mate. Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Big thank you, Archie, before the break there. Remain essay, commanding, I think was the word you used, Archie. A word that I would also endorse because we, as I think I've said in this show and probably all across the season since he's started to mature into the player that he's becoming, we start to take for granted some of the moves and his methods of escape from the attentions of a number of defenders. There were a few moments yesterday where he had almost 2 or 3 white shirts in front of him. Somehow he skips around in a pirouette almost and comes out with the football. And we're seeing it so regularly now that you become a little bit not blasé. I think if you're any kind of judge of football, you know what you're seeing there. But certainly top quality player. He must start to attract Premier League interest, dear listeners. I'm going to start to have to prep you for this, I think, because I can't believe that we can see what we're seeing and this will go unescaped by the top table. So anyway, I did see Miles Thornton posting about Crystal Palace having an interest in him. I really hope that we can get top dollar for him if it does come, or when it does come. But also, if I was Romain Esse's advisor, I'd be talking more in terms of the big names, not Crystal Palace. You know, if you said to me Arsenal, I'd say, yeah, he's at a level where he could fit into that side quite easily. What do you think, dear listeners? Anyway, maybe it's inappropriate to comment on these things. Vulgar, almost. Should we call it vulgar? Let's call it vulgar, dear listeners. Team choice, yeah. I mean, as soon as I saw that 11, Archie, I thought this is going to be a defensive showing. And it was a masterclass of Mill defence. I don't think that Neil Harris said we didn't play our best yesterday in that sense. They did have a few moments of, a high drama across the 90 minutes. Not that many, but certainly as the second half wore on, I thought we were clinging on at certain points. George Savile Knackard's an interesting point. I can't believe that we'll see him on a regular basis. He must need a rest. He may be replaced by Billy Mitch at some point as soon as Billy's back in the frame. Bottom line, statistics wise, as I've noted to myself, is the scoreline. That's all that counts in the end. But yeah, big thank you to Archie. Keep them coming, mate. I like that one. Let's go on now to Jim Hackett.
Morning, Nick. Jim Hackett here. Just a quick chat about yesterday's game because I think, in the words of the late great Attila the Hun, it's better to be lucky than good, because yesterday we were absolutely shocking. I thought, couldn't keep the ball, giving away every opportunity we had, and yet we come up with a goal in the 90th minute that was absolutely fantastic. And even better, the fact that the 2 subs put it together and both of them did their little bit, and to watch Casper Denor get his goal and then the celebrations that went with it were fantastic. The game overall, I think if I was a Swansea supporter, I wouldn't be happy with that. It's turgid, it's pity patty, and it's hard to watch. I think. I mean, watching their centre midfield dynamo come back, pick the ball up off his centre halves, and then just knock it around, and that's all they do. And then they get in the last third, and they haven't got a clue where they're going. I think a game of half chances, we had some half chances that with a better final pass or a better delivery, we might have done some damage, but they had a few half chances and their ones got snuffed out by Jensen, who I thought yesterday really played well. He still looks terrible on coming for high crosses. It's like he's rooted to his spot. He'd rather the defender did the job than he did it. But at the end of the day, he made some fantastic saves, and quite rightly, I think, for us, he was our man of the match. As for the rest of the team, off the ball, we don't have a problem, do we? Because everybody can get around the pitch and everybody can work hard and do their bit. And I thought Danny Mack, when he put his early tackle in that didn't get a booking, actually set the standard for us, because I think after that we were at him wherever the ball was sort of in space. We were closing them down and getting where we could. But when we had the ball, we were absolutely woeful, and there wasn't one of our players, I think, could walk off there thinking they'd had a good game in terms of possession and keeping hold of the ball, because we were terrible. But who cares when you get the ball in the back of their net in the 90th minute? I think everybody was happy, and the supporters who went yesterday, I think they'd have took a point before the game. I think we all would have took a point, but the supporters who travelled would have took the point, especially as the game was going on. But to get 3 points made the journey for them well worthwhile. So very happy for them. And let's hope it's the start of another run. I mean, if we'd have been given 7 points for the last 3 games, I think we'd have all snapped somebody's hand off. As it is, we've got them. We now go into 2 hard games that, if we can get anything out of them, I think we'll all be happy again. So my thoughts on yesterday were it was smash and grab, but it's very typical Millwall that we can play so well early in the season, get nothing out of it, play so poorly now and get 2 wins together. So that's football, isn't it? And I think the other telling factor is Tanganga coming back in, because he's made a massive difference to shored up that defence. Even when he's not firing at 100%, his 90% is still good enough for us. And yesterday, I didn't think he was brilliant, but at the same time, there were certain things he did. Do you think, yeah, he's keeping us in games, just by his strength and his ability to read stuff. So long may it continue. And then I thought Wintle and Saville in the middle. Saville just didn't quite look on it to me, but at the same time, I thought Wintle played quite well. We've got a nice problem coming, obviously, when Billy gets fit again, and it'll just make that central midfield area a little bit more complicated for Harris, I think, to pick his best 2. But I think one of the issues he's got, or one of the nice issues he's got now, is that he knows Casper could go in there and do that Hanneman job. Because when he came on yesterday and when Mihailo come on as well, both of them did their bit. I thought he won his headers, looked nice and big and strong, and Casper didn't give the ball away, got himself in little areas where he got the ball back for us, or he closed down, and he could do the Hanneman job. Whether he could do it for 90 minutes like Hanneman, I don't know, but that little area, it just certainly give everybody a little bit of thought, I think, that he can do that. And I was made up for Femi Aziz, who got his assist, but he got it from their mistake. He took the right ball, took the right option into the box, and put a lovely cross in for Casper to finish. And maybe that's the difference between Casper and Hanneman. I think maybe Hanneman would have hit it and hoped, whereas Casper put it into the corner. So on we go then to the next game, but we're looking a lot healthier points wise. I don't think we're looking as good playing wise, but who cares when they got points on the board? So come on, you Lions.
Big thank you, Jim. Great quote by Attila the Hun. I didn't know it was quote material, but that's a great quote. Better to be lucky than to be good. I like that one, Attila, and I like that one, Jim. Just thinking as you're speaking about the Swansea football, which is very much a modern style. Obviously it derives, I suppose, back from the Pep Guardiola Barcelona idea that if you've got the ball, and you pass it around, the opposition don't have the ball, therefore you should be able to beat them. If you don't have the football. I remember reading this in an ancient edition of, it might be Shoot or it might be Goal magazines, how far back I go, listeners. But the idea that if you don't have the ball, then you can't win the game. True. And yesterday, Swansea had 71 point something percent, and we had the balance, 29%. And we won it. So it seems as though you can win the game if you don't have as much of the ball as your opposition. The passing style, which again, talk about Barcelona, Manchester City now in the Premier League, and all that follows, is great when you're playing with world class players, and you can pass the ball out from the back. Although I did notice, even Premier League sides passing the ball out from the back is always a recipe for putting yourself in trouble. So you do need top quality players, world level, European level players, to play that well. Swansea, as much as they've tried to carve out this image of themselves as kind of like a European side playing in Swansea, I don't know, it looked a bit purposeless. Now, we did dodge a bullet. They had one flick header which they missed late in the game. I've mentioned that already. You would have seen it, anyone that saw the stream yesterday. So we dodged a bullet there. If that had gone in, it might have felt like a very different show today. And obviously the heroics, as we've mentioned a few times, and as Jim just mentioned there, of Lucas Jensen. But the actual style of Swansea, that would bore me rigid. We've gone a little bit off of our own fluid boil recently at the Den. I did enjoy that football. I did like it. I mean, I'm hoping that we do see its return, and you've got to grind out your away games, but certainly at the Den, it's great to see us taking the game to the opposition in the style that Neil Harris clearly wants to get to. Whether that will include at any point the duo up front of Ivanovic and Langstaff remains to be seen, I suppose, until we've got at least a third fit striker to have on the bench, Tom Bradshaw. I don't know when he's due back. Then, or maybe after the January window, who knows what that will bring. Then we may see its return. I don't know, but I think until then we're probably going to have to accept just one striker up front, and some certainly away from home, some measure of the the kind of tough medicine that we had yesterday. But as I've said already on this show, there's only one statistic that matters in football. That's the bottom line scoreline. Yesterday was 1-0 Millwall. So there we are. We're going to play out the show now. I've got two voicemails to go. We've got Rob Woodford next up, and then Bobby T. I'm going to say goodbye to you at this point. I'm going to play it with both Rob and then Bobby. I want to say a big thank you to everyone for contributing to the show. I must admit, an away game where you don't go, you always wonder how much content you're really going to be able to deliver in a show. We've delivered some great content, I think, on this edition. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's sent in their voice notes. I really appreciate them. Do keep them coming. If you want to contribute, listeners, I always welcome every entry that I get. Give me a shout on X. You can private message me or direct message me, I suppose it's called. You can actually use that to send a voice note on X, and I can record them. So that's one way to do it. Or you can just exchange mobile numbers, and you can send me a voice note via WhatsApp. That's equally as good. You can go on for longer, I think, on WhatsApp than you can on X. But any messages, post-match messages, summaries, reviews, thoughts, musings, whimsies, anything you like, always good. I'd love to hear from you all. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone for this show. And I finally want to say a big thank you to you, listeners, for tuning in. That's what we do it for. We hopefully get enough money to donate to the Food Hub, which is the intention and purpose of the show. So as long as you carry on listening to me, prattling away, then we can carry on doing that, and that's all for the good, isn't it, dear listeners? So anyway, Rob Woodford first, Bobby T second, but from me, Nick Hart, to the next edition of Achtung Millwall, which will follow next week's Burnley home game. It's Arrivederci Millwall, and bye for now.
Hello Nick, it's Rob Woodford from Block 4, our post-Swansea victory. What a result. I mean, it did look as if one stage we were going to hang on and get another 0-0. We've done that a couple of times already this season away from home, including the West Brom game where we kept our strategy, we kept our shape, and we were doing that to a certain extent yesterday, although it wasn't pretty to watch. What a result at the end of the day. There was some good performances as well, individual performances. I thought Japhet Tanganga was the man of the match for us, and it's no coincidence, I think, since he's come back from suspension, we've only conceded 5 goals. In 10 games, isn't it? And that was our 5th clean sheet. And only 1 defeat in 7 now. So, it's encouraging. Things are looking up. Nice individual performance, I thought, from Ryan Wintle, making his full debut. And then another cameo performance from Femi Aziz. I'm convinced there's a player there. And I think we will see that as the season rolls on. I spoke to a Swansea fan before the game, and he said to me, all we'll see from my team is us pushing the ball sideways for 90 minutes, but we'll have no end product. We've got nothing in the final third. Well, thanks to Lucas Jensen, that proved to be the case yesterday. Big shout out for him because he's been coming under a lot of stick. And but what a bonus to get the goal. Fantastic. And the league table now looking perhaps a little bit more realistic. The manager kept banging on about we were in a false position. Well, perhaps we were. There's only 3 teams outside the top 6 with a positive goal difference, and we're one of them. We've got some really attractive home games coming up. There's going to be some big gates. We've got every team in the top 4 in the next 5 home games, I believe. So exciting times. I think the old buzz is back again, Nick, isn't it?
Good evening, Nick Hart, Bobby T, Neil Harris, Pick a Mix. Like picking swigs, he mixed all it about. Who gives a fuck? Millwall 1, Swans 0. Casper, you ghost, I love you. That's from Matty Sarkic. Rest in peace, boy. Love ya. Millwall. Bye for now. Nika, Bobby T, and one more thing before I fucking go, mate. I called him suspect before, suspect fucking Jensen, but today, take a bow, son. Man of the match. Sarkic will be proud of you up there, mate. Great performance. Bye for now, Millwall. Nika, Bobby T, let's end it one more time. I need to end it this because Harris has got a lot of stick. He's my man of the match for the substitutions. Harris, have a drink on me tonight, mate. Millwall, love ya. Evening, Nick Hart, Bobby T here. Just got home from work, had a nice, hot, lovely bath. We fucking nicked it. Nick Hart, all down to you. That was smash and grab. But you know what really annoys me? And I want to tell this to all the Millwall podcast. Some of our fans are still fucking moaning on social media. Like bad performance, poor performance, boring performance. Like, I couldn't really give two fucks right here. I'd rather win every game 1-0, playing boring football and go up the league and in the playoffs or top 6, whatever, than, play pretty football or tiki-taka, Arsenal and exciting football. This is Millwall, the Millwall way. And if it's boring and if you win one, what would you rather do, fans? Win 1-0 every weekend, 1-0, boring football, smash and grab, late winners, passion, or pretty football and tactics and all that? For me, I know what I'd choose, mate. Bye for now. Burnley and Leeds coming up. Beware. The Lions are coming. Bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.